4 true believers in open innovation, and I think they will introduce themselves better than myself. So please, Jordi, can you tell us about?
Hey, it's okay.
Okay, okay. No, I mean for me it's the same. So for Jordi.
My name is Jordi Escruela. I'm in charge of innovation in Correos, and part of this innovation is entrepreneurship.
Cool. Thanks very much, Arantzazu. It's a big pleasure to be here on the stage with you guys. I'm Silvia Mendez. I'm part of the Enel Innovation Hub Europe. I don't know if Enel maybe sounds familiar to you, but basically we are operating in Spain with Endesa. We are the first utility in Spain, first in Europe and 5 worldwide. In terms of open innovation function, basically we are composed by a network of 10 hubs right now, okay? 2 in United States, 1 in Silicon Valley, 1 in Boston, Chile, Brazil, 3 in Italy, 1 in Russia, 1 in Tel Aviv, and mine in Europe. And basically we are responsible for the scouting of European startups, looking for win-win collaboration just to get into commercial agreements. So our model is, I would say, super simple.
Great. Ignacio.
Hi everyone, I'm Ignacio Tovar. I'm the head of innovation and digital transformation for Iberia. You may know me because I was before venture capitalist. I used to be part of some Ventures here in Madrid. And now I'm part of the best airline globally, right? So just, I think you know Iberia, we are part of IAG as a group, together with Glyn in Barcelona, together with Iberia Express here in Spain, British Airways in London, Aer Lingus in Ireland. So many metrics to say, 100 customers a year, that is really, really important for us. And I think that's it. As Iberia, 70,000 employees, and great, so good to see you.
Hi, my name's Glyn Baker, I work for Visa. I look after venture partnerships in Europe, so that means that we're looking externally for innovation, and sometimes we give them money. So, you know, they're nice people to know.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. And then, guys, what do you think we, big corporations, have to consider when defining our innovation ecosystem? So, is there a unique ecosystem for every company? Do they have something particular for each company? So, do we have to keep the culture in our minds? So what do you think?
Who started?
I go first?
You go first.
I mean, our open innovation area is mature enough, I would say, because it's 7 years old right now. So we are not a baby anymore. So based on this, many lessons learned came up from this journey. It's been exciting, but it's been crazy at the same time. And yeah, I would say there are 2 main things to have in consideration. First of all, to have a clear idea about what kind of value do you want to add to your company. Be aligned also with the strategy of the company, it's super relevant.
Yeah.
And the third point could be to have an innovation top manager team in every single business line. Afterwards, it's super easy to define the KPI, super easy, pretty much, okay? And also the innovation probably will make sense, okay? Because open innovation right now is booming, it's super trendy. And sometimes it seems to be something really cosmetic or a buzzword. And double check what's behind, the message behind, because the innovation, if the innovation does not become business, it isn't worth it at all. So, and rapidly going to your second question, for me the unique, what we have in common right now is the global perspective we have of the open innovation world right now. I mean,
Exactly.
it's a kind of, we have a clear idea that together we can go further, and it's super exciting. I mean, here it's the example for different core business, for big players, and under the same roof. So it's super crazy.
Great. Anyone else? Glyn?
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. I think one of the key things for us is innovation has to come from the business, right? I absolutely agree with that. And you know, as I say, in my world, when we look at the partnerships and the investments that we make, they're always driven by the business. So we're not a financial investor, we're a strategic investor in companies, which means that there has to be a really strong business reason as to why we're going to get involved with a company or with a partner. And that always has to come from strong sponsorship, but also, you know, that awareness and knowledge that parts of the business can take those steps, which I think is also super important. So you have to kind of tell the business, hey, it's okay. If you want to test something out, obviously there's got to be really strong fundamentals. There's got to be a really good business case. There's got to be reasons as to why you're going to prioritize this over that, but you can do that, right? It's important, and we've done it. You know, in Europe, we've made 9 investments this year. As I say, just speaking from the venture side. So it's all feasible, but as I say, I wholeheartedly agree, it has to come from the business.
Okay, an innovation ecosystem includes startups, academia, research centers, universities, I mean, a broad spectrum of players. So which is the role of the different players in the game board?
Let's start with startups. Well, first, I like to take some time explaining Correos, because I'm sure that no one knows what is Correos. No? Well, we are a company with 50,000 people. We are public, like the other speaker in the previous panel that was seated here. They are from Renfe. So we are a corporation, but we have the problems that the public companies has. Okay. We started our program with startups in 2016 here in South Summit, and we've been learning a lot about the startups, and every year we have increased our challenge, our own challenge. For example, next week we open the third edition of Lenica, and this year we are going to invest in the startups. We are not only give money to the startup, to the project. Now we are going to enter to the capital in equity. So for us, it's a big challenge, and what we are looking for is to create this kind of synergy with the startups and the public corporate, to develop products to the market, and also to improve our processes. This is with the startups. Then with the universities, the relationship is different. It's R&D. I mean, it's slower. The relationship is long-term relationship, trying to do R&D. And the third part, with the other corporations, is co-creation. I mean, we've been talking with some of us and with some other colleagues that we can meet here. And this is the way that we are working with them. No, with speed with startups, long-term with universities, and then bigger projects with collaboration between
other
corporations.
companies.
Yeah.
Good. Ignacio?
So my vision around, I know you sometimes when you discuss about transformation and digital and these kind of things, they are just full of words, so sometimes like a big bullshit. Yeah, and I think that in this case, ecosystem is a right word, and it's not at all any kind of business, because an ecosystem is about like a living nature, right? Where you have like depredators, you have also buyers, you have, and now I'm in like the dark side of the force, because we are like a big corporations, and I'm here because of the project, of the products, and because of the vision of Iberia and some big corporates regarding the support that we can have to that ecosystem and the startups. So you know, guys, the startups are looking for customers mainly, and customers that pay. That's an important thing. And I think that is exactly what we can offer and scale as a corporation. So the way we approach that is also so important to define the right procedures and like to manage innovation as if we were like a venture, no? with different specific phases, no? And criteria to move forward or abandon things. And I think that's exactly the approach. And in this concept of ecosystem, you will die if you do not add value. So even if you're a corporation and you are looking for startups, if you do not offer the right value, so they will never get and work with you, or maybe the right talent and the right startups that are the ones that you are looking for. Because I think that is why we are absolutely aligned, generally speaking, because Silvia always speaks about impact, and that is exactly what we think this is about, right? Impact. So the KPIs for our transformation as Iberia are pretty close to economical impact, but also to customer NPS and employees NPS. So the way we measure satisfaction in our customers, and the way we measure satisfaction for our employees too. And if you want to go far, you want to go fast, and you want to generate impact, so the way is, sometimes it is an startup, sometimes it is not. Sometimes it is just like a good agreement between Visa, Correos, Enel, or ourselves. Sometimes it's just working with a big tech partner like Google or Amazon. But the thing is that you have like a clear vision of the product where you want to go, and just put the right value that sometimes is a thing, sometimes is another, but try to move together and have always the impact in our mind. So impacts on our customers and employees is finally impacts on the different chains of this circle, right? So it's startups, corporates, researchers, and so.
Yeah.
I think that's a really, really interesting point, which is, I love the analogy of this ecosystem as a living thing, and it absolutely is. And one of the things that means is if you don't feed it, it's going to die, right? And we see that a lot. I'm sure all of us have seen that in strategic partnerships or in the way that we work with companies. It's like, even for big companies, all of these things are massive investments. They're investments in resource, they're investments in time. And look, an Iberia or a Visa or a Correos, we can deal with things that go wrong. If you're working with a small company and it goes wrong, that company's going to go. That's it, right? That's the end of that company. So we have to be really cognizant of that, right, as the bigger players in that ecosystem. But I think it's really important to recognize that, some people are going to survive and thrive, and some people are just not. And it's sad, but it's true. But it's really important. You have to recognize that ecosystems, you need to feed and water them. Otherwise, they just don't stay.
I think, Silvia, you wanted to add.
Going back to your initial question, about the roles, I think that every single actor within the ecosystem is super vital. I mean, if you look at the most innovative hotspots over the world, I mean, Silicon Valley, Israel, or even Europe, because here we have 4, 5 best-in-class places, including Barcelona and Madrid for sure. They all have in common this kind of virtuous circle. I mean, the money comes from the venture capital funds, corporate venturing, then the talent coming from the universities or R&Ds or business schools or whatever, the startups for sure, and all the organizations that are able to save the startup from the very beginning, incubators, accelerators, venture building, whatever. The public organizations, the public administration, and then the big corporate. So if every single step is up and running, I think the best is yet to come. So
yeah, exactly. And when we talk about corporations and maybe about collaboration among competing corporations, do you guys in Visa have projects with American Express? Do you have innovation projects, Glyn?
Yeah, believe
Or
Silvia,
do you in Enel have any innovation project open with Iberdrola? Or
yeah, we do, and it goes back to the ecosystem and what's important in the ecosystem. So any of you in the audience, or most people now, will have mobile payment. You'll have Apple Pay or Google Pay or another product, right? So there's a standard that sits behind that, which is all to do with how the card that sits on your phone is managed. It's called tokenization. Now that's a thing which absolutely made sense for us and American Express and MasterCard, Discover, CEP to do as an industry. There's just no point in creating lots of different standards. It wouldn't have worked for Google, it wouldn't have worked for Apple. So there are certain things that absolutely make sense to collaborate on around ecosystems. Silvia, one of the ones for me which I think is super important is things like EV charging. It's not on our industry, but collaboration and cooperation around setting standards or creating a uniform platform around that kind of thing is really important, right? So
yeah, absolutely. I think the answer is yes in bold. And the reason why is super evident. I mean, actually, we are doing so. For example, with an Italian utility company based in Italy. And we are sharing our portfolio, the same exactly portfolio of startups, completely the same, okay? So I think it's time for co-creating, for collaborating. There is no choice. So it's what I said at the very beginning is, together we are able to go farther. So the answer is definitely yes.
So I would say that it is not a matter of you thinking about it, but doing it. I think we should do all this, and it's mandatory for all of us. If I go to the transportation and aviation ecosystem, so imagine that we transport customers, but we're starting an airport, so AENA is there, so it's like the owner of the house, and then we go to another destination where there's jumping with another company. So I think if you understand that you want to have like an end-to-end customer journey and a seamless experience, it's just mandatory for you. Otherwise, it's going to keep on happening. These kind of things of, around cancellation, losing baggage, and these kind of things is absolutely mandatory for you. And if you as an industry want to be in the next level, and I'm talking about aviation, but it's utilities, it's delivery or whatever, It's just a common thing to be pushed together among competitors. It is easy to say, hard to execute, and it's something that you start in an example. For example, we are part of a global alliance, which is One World, so we are like the same alliance than American Airlines, than Finnair, than Emirates, and that is like a good starting point. But of course, I think you need to move forward because every single airport in the world is from a different owner, and you know, we are like sharing routes, we are even sharing like the digital channels, so it is important for all of us.
In our case, locally, there is not a real collaboration between logistics or postal, because there is only one postal company right now. So, but we are collaborating worldwide with other postal organizations. I mean, we are sharing experience, we are organizing some challenge in European ways with some other postal operators and sharing the experiences. And then also we are starting to collaborate with new players. I mean, with the new last mile deliverers, or even though with Amazon, that maybe is a big customer, but also is a competitor for us. So we are collaborating with them. But I think, throwing back the question to you, I think you can share to the audience your experience about competition, and
of course,
you
we
are the
collaborate
moderator.
with our competitors many times in many projects. We have several projects that we share with our competitors as Ferrovial, and of course, when we have this opportunity to improve what we are doing and it generates value for both parts, it makes total sense. So yes, it's something that we do, not regularly, to be sincere. So it's true that a lot of the innovation we do in our company, we try to take a competitive advantage, because that is why we are doing it. We want to be competitive, but I think collaboration is something that it has to be in our mind and in our spirit. So yeah.
but what I found is collaboration starts when it's peer to peer with innovators in the corporations.
Yeah.
I mean, when you introduce commercial interest, I mean, it's impossible to collaborate. But we talk with some other colleagues in the innovation arena, no? And I'm sure that you do the same with infrastructure or in energy, or
yeah, we have to take in account that the threats sometimes they just don't come from your competitors; they come from somewhere else, and it's not particularly.
What is true is when innovators to innovators is when we are collaborating.
So, well, let's see which are the barriers then when we want to build our innovation ecosystem. Which are the biggest barriers when we want to collaborate with external agents?
So I think one of the barriers, you know, there's always a big company, small company thing, right? Which I think is super important. And you know, we talk to a lot of companies. Obviously, we talk to probably 300 across a year, and the ones that we progress with are the ones that really understand what's driving us. And so if we can create synergy between what's driving Visa and our clients, and and the client's customers, and what's driving a small company or an incubator or a fund or whomever else it might be, then generally you've got a good basis for cooperation. I think, you know, when we have people who come to us and say, you know, we run a global network that moves, you know, trillions of dollars a year, right? And if people come and say, we can do that better than you, we're a little more skeptical. So I think if you look at barriers for us, it's about really alignment around, you know, business objectives, commercial objectives, and really, again, going back to the ecosystem thing, it's can you get everybody all lined up in a row? And the minute you can do that, you're going to win. And that's what we like. We like to find those winning paths.
We like to win.
We like to win. So yeah.
I think the big challenge in my opinion, is about execution and delivery.
Yeah.
So that is, now we were discussing about like common opportunities, so it is great, so we can do these things together and together with you, and there's like an holistic vision or something, blah, blah, blah. Let's have a meeting next week, and then we see each other in the next South Summit, no, in a year, and say, do you remember that idea that we were discussing a year ago? So what happened with that? And I think that's the most important thing. I think it's not, in our case at least, it's not a matter of just creativity and setting the right pipeline and ideas, but understanding and getting the right partners to get the shit done, right? So to get there easily and to have the impact that we were mentioning. So that is important, because you sometimes work together with a startup and maybe it is too early for them or too early for you, and you can just kill one startup in a week, or they can just generate you so much pain that you just lose 1,000 customers because some kind of process is not like designed well enough or executed well enough. So I think it's about execution, right partner, vision. And if you have the vision and you have the good idea, just move fast and try to execute. Go for it. That's it.
Yeah, I think from the big corporate perspective, we have to be really humble on this journey of open innovation. I mean, especially when we are speaking about our flows, okay? It's the case of, I'm going to speak about the procurement process, for example, when you are collaborating with the startups. We have set up recently what we call the fast track procurement process, just for sorting the payment period, because we are completely aware of this probably the biggest pain point when you are collaborating with the startups, because I mean the cash flow is super relevant for them. So just understanding how to get better even the processes, because it's not related to the customers, okay? But yeah, it's super relevant because we try to grow and we try to improve the relationship with the startups, and yeah, that's cool, I think.
I think all of us could find 100 or 1,000 barriers and obstacles in the process about the procurement table, about regulation, about the banking regulation or the public regulation. But at the end, it's only excuses. I mean, you has to be focused in the project, in the startup. It's startup centric. I think you have to take care about what you develop is interesting for startups and for you, and forget all the barriers, because we could find so many excuses to don't do to be part of the ecosystem, and we have to be thinking in the collaboration thing. Don't talk about barriers, because anyone can find thousands of them.
So the barrier is thinking only on the barriers.
Yeah, no, that's the big one.
So, and then why are you here, guys? Why are you looking here in an event like South Summit? What are you looking for? Are you looking for collaboration with the startups, obviously? But what else? What do you expect from your time here in South Summit? Anyone, I mean.
I think we are sponsoring South Summit since the very beginning, I could say, since the first edition. So, I mean, it becomes a tradition within my company. But what we love the most, I could say, is the business you are able to do. There are many tracks of interest in our core business, so it's super interesting. And on the other hand, I could say we have a big responsibility on the community. So, I mean, we are really committed to the community, to make it happen, to make it bigger. I mean, to spread the voice, to gain exposure, and yeah. And I think my boss is not here, and the parties are amazing.
So in our case, sorry.
Please.
So I think that we are here, as many of the startups that I know that are already here, just to change the world. So I think exactly. So starting with aviation, and then moving to travel, and then changing the world. So the thing here is that it's a great starting point to do so, and it's a great point to share the kind of products that you are launching. For example, we launched on Tuesday a new WhatsApp chatbot for Iberia. So please be beta testers and try that.
Yeah, my team is thrilled with that.
Oh, really?
They tell me, okay, you have to go to Iberia.
Really? That's it.
Yes.
So this is about like showing what you have and listening to your customers, which is happening. You know, something is like Iberia just is doing me so. Iberia, and so recommendation, doing network for sure. These kind of things. Also funding. You know, also talent. I think is one of the most important things for us. So the people that we meet here, not just about startups, but corporations, funds, globally. So this is like starting with the southern, like Europe, but also Latin America, which is like a huge market and really, really important for us. So let's change the world together.
Okay.
So I think maybe we have a slightly different perspective. I have a different perspective, which is it's really important for us because, you know, we operate in the world of commerce, right? We help people move money from one place to another. That's all we do. You know, we do it really well, and we do it a lot. And but actually, the thing which is most important for us around that space is context. So how do people want to move money? So whether that's looking at what's happening in healthcare or what's happening in mobility. So are we moving, we know we're moving to a subscription economy, which means that people are going to want to pay in different ways, right? So for us as Visa, we really need to start to, or get much better at understanding the context of how people want to pay. It's not just about, working with banks or working with merchants, people that take money, or and even working with consumers. It's again going back to that ecosystem model of just understanding how is that all going to flow together, and how do people want to move their money safely, securely, and fast, right? And that's really what we do. We help them do that. But we've really got to understand that context. So it's actually great to come somewhere like this, which isn't just about fintech or banking. It's actually about a much broader spectrum of companies and about much broader innovation, because again, that broader view of how people want to do commerce is what really drives everything we are. So it's super important, and it's been great. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really here for have fun. That's true. I mean, we start here at 9 and finishing at 1 in the morning or at 2, making business and trying to change the world. And I think the main objective is having fun and find our friends that every year meet here. I think this is should be the first objective.
Well, I think time flies when you are having such interesting conversations. It's been a pleasure. I hope you all have enjoyed, and thank you very much for your time and for your inspiration. Thank you.
Thank you.